excited because we are actually here with Eric Yang, who is actually he's in Paris, France right now as we speak. And I wanted to do these interviews with actual, like, I wanted experienced people that are living this lifestyle already and have for a few years. Eric's going to go into his story. So he doesn't run his own co-living home, but he's actually lived in them. He's a digital nomad. He's traveled the world traveler. I was lucky enough, he actually lived in the original Epic Entrepreneur House with us back maybe a year and a half. Was about a year and a half ago?
Yeah, about that. Last March.
Yes, so much fun. And so yeah, I'll let Eric go ahead and tell his amazing story and his experiences with co-living and traveling the world.
Hey, everybody. So my name is Eric Yang. I am 22 years old, and like Chris mentioned, I'm in Paris right now, which is where I was born and raised. So my personal experience was, I have a lot of international background. So my parents are Chinese, born in Paris. I moved for my last year of high school to China for a year, graduated there. I didn't know what I wanted to do after high school, so I took a gap year between high school and college. So I took my backpack and went to Argentina for 6 months to work in a daycare. And I didn't know how to speak Spanish. I didn't know anybody there. I just went to a hostel and lived there for 6 months. And that was like when I first tasted like the digital nomad in a way lifestyle, where I didn't have an agenda, I didn't have a house, I didn't know anybody, but just love the new adventure, right? Like when it's like a new map where just you going through the journey of discovering where you are, who you want to be friends with. I just loved it. I was sharing my room with 600 people. It was in the middle of summer, so it was like really, really hot. And, I slept on the couch a couple of times in the living room because like so steamy in the room was impossible. But I loved every single moment of it because I was just free. After that, I went to the US to college in Santa Barbara in California. And I was there for 2 years. And after graduating / dropping out of school, I did this because I told my parents I graduated, but not really. And I dropped out. I took a gap year where I focused on my business. And it was like an event for entrepreneurs, for young hustlers and young leaders in LA. And because I wanted to travel even more, I took my business online and I created like online events where it allowed me to travel even more. So I went to Bangkok after that, and I traveled around Southeast Asia. I built virtual summits, which was my main way to monetize and finance my travels. And after a couple weeks, back in 2017, March, I moved into the Entrepreneur House where Christine was living with us in San Diego. And honestly, I miss it so much ever since I left the house and the people that was in it. And it was just such a blast and such a unique experience to be able to share this whole co-working, co-living experience with people you actually care about, who you actually look up to as well.
Nice. Oh, that's great. And then since then, you've then jumped, you jumped to Thailand. How many countries have you been to since?
Yeah, so from high school to now, I think I've been to over 20 countries. My main way to travel is mostly like with a backpack. So just put it like basic clothes, like 2 or 3 pair of pants, 2 or 3 t-shirts. You buy everything in the country you go to, 1 laptop because you have to work. I kind of always have fun. And yeah, so the biggest and best country I've been part of where I actually lived long-term was San Diego and Bangkok by far.
Okay, perfect. And then what do you like most about, because again, this is a different lifestyle, and that's why I'm glad you did you're doing this interview so you can kind of show, the advantages and disadvantages and just, and why you chose that. Is it mostly the freedom of just not being attached to things?
Yeah, that a lot. So I never know what I'm gonna do next, so I don't like to have something forced upon me, like have a lease, for example. Like when I was in college, like I didn't like the house I was living in, but I have a lease, so I had to stay there. or I had to find someone else to take up my lease so like I can leave and they take my spot. But when I travel, it's always like Airbnb, hostels. Uh, I Uber around. I don't have to drive a car. I don't need to because it's like so convenient to Uber or take a taxi around the country you go to, especially in cheap countries. Um, and just being able to just say tomorrow if I want to go to Japan or tomorrow if I want to go to Chile or Uganda, I can because I have nothing. I have no rent and I have no house. I have like I don't have a girlfriend, so that's even easier in a way. But yeah, just having this freedom because I know that eventually I will have to settle down somewhere to have like a more stable environment to build a bigger business or a bigger like personal environment where I can thrive. But for now, I just take full advantage of what's in front of me. So this freedom is just what I needed. And if I had a house or a car, I wouldn't be able to do that.
You're exact. Yeah, no, that's true. And then so on the flip side, what are the things that are hardest about being like location independent and jumping around? What are like some of the hard parts?
Yeah, so there were a lot of times where I was lonely. I felt like I didn't want to go out, especially when I'm in a new country sometimes, like kind of tired of being socializing around people. Uh, I I am personally like a social introvert, so I like to be around people, but I recharge by being by myself. And sometimes I want to recharge by being with other people that I already know a lot, and sometimes those people I know a lot, I don't have access to them next to me because they are either working or they are not traveling with me. So definitely the people, my friends, family is okay, to be honest. I talk to them once in a while on the phone, like once a week, so that's fine. But the whole experience of being able to share this journey with real, like your best friends, right? Being able to look back 10 years from now, not just strangers you met in somewhere in the world, and being able to share this experience. So that's like one, like friends. Two, uh, building like a strong routine. So as an entrepreneur, like I love to have a schedule, meaning that I love to like, wake up at 8 a.m., get my coffee, do my workout with my workout buddy, which I had in San Diego, which was awesome. We just push each other with our diet. We had to eat 3,600 calories every single day. And every single day we're like, hey, did you eat your chicken yet? No, eat your chicken. I was like, all right. Or did you drink your buttered coffee yet? It's like, no, drink your buttered coffee. And that was like the fun part, right? Like you are accountable with your roommate or with your friend. But when you travel, you're like all by yourself. So you have to rely on yourself a lot. And sometimes I know that I don't have the self-discipline to just push myself to do something like the same routine over and over again in a new environment, because you have to find the gym, you have to find a restaurant that fits your diet. Sometimes you have to travel a lot, so you're kind of tired, and your whole like balance schedule is all off. So I really miss the ability to have the potential or the ability to do something over and over again, and just focus on the things I needed to get done. But when I travel, it's really hard, and I have to compromise on other things.
The routine. No, and I've heard that too, a lot, is that it's hard to have that solid routine when you're jumping around. You have to get back into it, and sometimes it takes a week or two to get your routine down.
100%.
Yeah. And no, and something else I'll mention is what is amazing about jumping around is it's like when I went to Paris back in December, Eric just happened to be there at the same exact time. And yeah, he got to show me around his city, and it's really cool to forge these relationships on like a global level, and stay connected through social media. So I think social media is a great tool to keep the connection, but then to have that human component and interaction is cool too. So let's see, I got other questions. Well, you talked about kind of the different, that you've done hostels, you've done Airbnb, you've done actual co-living home. Yeah, because you were in our home for 3 months, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then what do you look for when you go to decide where you're going to stay? What do you look for?
So before it was how cheap it was. I didn't care if it was like $1. Actually, in Chiang Mai, where I was like 3 months ago, I stayed in a hospital slash hostel that costed me like $1 per night, like $1 per night.
No way. Because
Like,
usually I found decent, it's like $22 a night I've paid for like a decent place with air conditioning. $1. Wait, I used
like
it at the hospital and a hostel. Wait, what is
so
it?
the reason why I call it hospital is because I actually took massage classes, and in Chiang Mai, massage classes are taught in hospitals. So I stayed in a hospital where they had like a long tatami where I was sleeping on with a fan on, and in the morning I would go to the Thai massage school and learn how to do like Thai massages and like the whole oil thing. And I would sleep in a $1 bed because I just was looking for like, you know, backpacking experience. Uh, so that was unique for sure. I wouldn't do it again, but it was great for a try.
Wait, how
I,
many
uh,
nights did you do it for? How long?
I did it for a week. I could
Oh,
not last longer.
you
I
dropped out
couldn't
of
last
the
longer.
massage school?
Yeah, as much as school was great, the bed wasn't great. But you know, I lived for it. There was people, you know, that's a thing when you go to hostels, right? People snoring, people being noisy at 3 a.m. But that's part of the experience. But now, the thing I'm looking for is I changed my way of traveling. Now I'm traveling more with friends because I want to share the experience of living with other people, like living experiences, sharing the housing experience as well. So now it's like 3 or 4 bedrooms, so I can go with 3 or 4 of my buddies. When I go and travel around, I try honestly to replicate the entrepreneur house business model through my traveling, by inviting friends to come over, and we'll have like our work schedule, our work sessions, our like workouts, our diet. So that was great. But now like decent Wi-Fi, like stable Wi-Fi. The pool is always a bonus if you go to Southeast Asia and when it's getting really hot. And yeah, just good air conditioning if there's any.
Yes, yes. Oh, that's great. What a great story. That's awesome. And you're modest, you won't say, but you know, Eric's come from a pretty privileged background. So to be able to live in these third world countries and sleep on a cot for $1 a night, like that's really cool, you know, that you get to experience that you want to experience life so much that you're like, hey, it's cool. Like I just want the adventure and to meet people and you know, that's really neat.
Yeah, like you know, like when I lived in the entrepreneur house in San Diego, like the biggest perk of being part of the house is not only you are living with amazing people that you vibe with, because everybody there has to be like conscious minded on top of being like successful, and being conscious minded attracts other conscious minded people. So when you're friend with 4 people in the house, it isn't like only 4 people because those people have other friends. So without like really needing to, you have big circle of friends with amazing talents, with amazing, you know, gifts, and you're able to just connect with them because they're just good people. So when you are in a co-working space or co-working living, co-living house, uh, just being able to meet people so easily, because I found it personally really hard to meet good people if you're outside of their inner circle, right? Because you never know where are the good people, and you never know who are the good entrepreneurs in a foreign country because they speak a different language. I was really lucky in the first place that I got access to a good network when I was in California. But when I went to Bangkok, it was really hard for me to find any good entrepreneur that I vibe with because one, I don't understand the language, or two, because I didn't know where to find them. So just easy access is just so underrated.
Definitely. Yeah, and tell the viewers how many languages, which languages do you speak?
Oh,
You speak three,
so
right?
I speak like 3.5.
Okay.
So I speak French, English, and Chinese, and I speak a bit of Spanish because I live in Argentina for a while, and I took Italian for 4 years in high school, but I forgot all of my Italian because I learned Spanish and it's so similar. So I speak like a mixture between Italian and Spanish now, which is kind of weird, and all of that with a French Chinese accent, which is even weirder. So yeah.
That's awesome. I think that's amazing. Cool. Well, my last question for you, Eric, is what, and this is a big question, in your personal opinion, and you're a smart guy, obviously, where do you see the future of, so you're so modest, where do you see the future of like co-living and like housing as a service, as like the new industry disruption? Where do you see that going?
So I have two perspectives on that. Like one, as a young entrepreneur that is like, you know, like part of the Gen Z generation as well. And two, from like a business perspective because I actually work with one of our roommates on the Airbnb event. So I have a little bit of experience in this industry. So talking about myself personally first is uh, I personally don't want to be attached to anything right now. So when it comes to having any kind of engagement with or a commitment, that's a word, commitment to any kind of like physical, you know, uh, possession like houses or cars. I don't need it because when I travel, I'm looking for experiences, not like material things. And if I do, I can buy it or rent one. So for now, like I think a lot of young people, they either don't have the money to have like a long-term lease because now they have like debt, they don't know where they're gonna pay rent next. So maybe going to co-living spaces or hostel is cheaper options for them, or going back to their parents if they need to. We don't have a legal need to pay for rent when they are not there anymore. Uh, and also for other people who just want to be around entrepreneurs or like-minded people who are around the same hobbies and passion, being able to share the experience without getting attached to a specific location for like a long time, where they can just jump around from one community to another, is truly underrated right now. Because from my perspective, like once I got out of college, it was like way harder for me to socialize because there wasn't like a place where I would go to every single day to meet the same people over and over again. I don't have a 9 to 5 job, so I don't have an office. I don't go to classes anymore. So my only way to meet people is either like meetups or through friends of friends, or Kndrd, which is kind of great sometimes when you travel, which is a super underrated hack if you want to meet local people. And you know, like even like friends, it's even great because even if you're not interested in them, like dating wise, by having a friend in a local place you're staying at, they can introduce you to their other circle, which is great. So you can have the full immersive experience. But I diverge here.
I like this. Now we need to do a separate interview with just you talking about Tinder
Yeah,
hacks.
like
How
I
to
learned
meet
from
best
Jack
friends
a
through
lot
Tinder.
about Tinder and the whole thing and how I create a system around it. I actually used it. It's actually pretty great.
You're
But
building your business network off Tinder. That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, that would be for like a different conversation here, Christine. But
Okay, we'll
uh,
save that for the follow up.
yeah.
That's
um,
awesome.
but let's finish up with Airbnb really fast. Like now more than ever, like young people don't have the money to buy houses anymore because one, houses are getting so much more expensive. They have to pay for college debt, and if they have not, the inflation is jumping like crazy. Or even if they are interested to buy a house, they're still like pretty young. Like even if you're 27, 28, you don't know if you want to live in a certain city for long because it changes so much. And because now jobs, like anybody can get fired for like 4 years from now because their jobs are getting replaced by either AI or cheap labor. So maybe the company's gonna fire them, so they have to find a new job. And maybe their dream job or a job that would make enough money isn't in the city they're staying at. So they will have to go to another city and rent another place. So you never know what the future is gonna bring to you. So being able to adapt yourself to your environment is really important. So Airbnb is great for you if you want to go and stay in a place like for short term. But I just want people to open their eyes to this next new world of co-living, short-term renting, not getting attached to any kind of big commitment anymore because just things change so fast. Like just think about like who you were like 6 months ago. Like you changed so much. Like did you expect where you would be today, or where you'd be like with your business today? And if you are like you had to travel to another country or another city, you never know what's gonna happen. And being able to say yes like much more easily is such a big freedom for us entrepreneur. And even if you're not, it's just such a gift for you to be able to go anywhere at any time.
Exactly. Well, perfect, Eric. We will end on that note. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview. It was amazing, especially again, now it gives our readers and our viewers a chance to hear like somebody that actually does this and experiences this and what you guys look for. And again, it's the commonalities. It's like freedom, not being locked down, being able to
Mm.
jump wherever they want. You know, that's kind of the way the world's going. And so we're excited to push the concept even further. So thank you so much, Eric.
Thank you, Christine. Like as a
Okay.
closing note, like keep it or leave it. But I'm not like at Tinder. I just learned from the very best. And he happened to be in entrepreneur house when I learned everything about Tinder and traveling. So talk to Jack. Jack, I'm not gonna mention his last name, but if you are here, Jack, like I love you, man. Thank you so much. And if anybody wants to learn about Tinder, like just reach out to him, and he might be able to help you out.
Oh, nice. You got a shout out. That's great. Awesome, Eric. You have a great rest of your day.
All right, thank you, Christine. Bye.
Okay. Bye.